Welcome, everyone, to Early Education Nation. Thank you for coming back to join us. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Lee Mays. I'm also joined by...
Joellen Johnson. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, and then we also have a special guest. Do you want to introduce our guest today?
Ben, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. My name's Ben Mills. I'm a Tucson native, now residing in Avondale. Very fortunate to have two wonderful kids, one alumni of Goddard and one that's still here going into her last year.
Awesome.
Right.
Very good.
Well, we're super excited that you're here. We brought you on today because you are a power dad, or super dad, as your hat says right now.
The dad of steel.
The dad of steel, yes.
Yes.
You are so involved in the community and really do so much actively for your students or for your children. And so we just want to talk to you a little bit about that. I know that when I was, my children were younger, I was active in a mom's club. And it really provided me with mental health, honestly, right? And building that sense of community, other people going through the same things that I was going through. And I just really valued those years. In fact, side note, my business partner and I met in our mom's club.
Really?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I was the chapter president and she was our vice president. And we just formed a great friendship. And then here we are almost 20 years later as business partners. But that's
so cool.
Another story. Thank you. But I just wanted to learn more about what the Dads Group is. If you could tell us a little bit about what that means.
Sure. Thank you both for having me on the show, the podcast. I really appreciate it. I am the co-organizer of Phoenix Dads Group, and that's just kind of a fancy way of saying I'm the lead volunteer for the group. Mm-hmm. Some of our other chapters have two. Right now, I'm the only one, but I'm very fortunate that I have three other dads across the valley that kind of volunteer as event organizers, helping to plan events, so it's easier so we don't have to drive everywhere. We can kind of cover the valley as best we can. So the group is a local chapter of a national nonprofit called City Dads Group. However, this past April, we recently merged with another nonprofit called All Parents Welcome. And it's interesting. The one was out of New York, the other one's out of California. So kind of the whole east to west, right? And now we've joined a global online network that they've been working on, a dad network called Dads Supporting Dads. That's kind of like our home base now. And their mission is to disrupt parenting culture and champion inclusive parental support. Each month, we host 2 playdates and one Dad's Night Out or Dad's Day Out social. Mm-hmm. Membership is completely free, and we primarily communicate through WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram.
Very good.
Wow. So when you said across the valley, so you guys, it's not just local to the West Valley. It's like all around Phoenix?
No. I mean, when I started volunteering a couple of years ago, it was just me here in the West Valley. I did a few things sprinkled across the valley, but I kept it here because that was our kind of number one rule. Make it simple. Do things that you naturally do, just in case no dad show that day. Mm-hmm. You're still doing something great with your kids, or you're taking the evening out for yourself. But yeah, we go across the whole valley, and really, anyone that hears about us can join across the state, but obviously we're just kind of here in the valley for now.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Well, so obviously it's been an important part of your life. How important is it for dads to interact with other fathers and other male role models outside of a formal setting, but just more casually and naturally in your environment?
Oh, I mean, sure. That is very important in my opinion. While there's still limited research and studies completed on this very topic, the dads that I've spoken to through Phoenix Dads Group have shared with me that the isolation aspect of being a stay-at-home father or an actively engaged father really takes a toll on their mental, emotional, and physical health. As I'm sure any parent would agree, child rearing is not a simple process. It has many moving pieces, and a common feeling is that of exhaustion and even at times a lack of support. I was recently part of a study on dads conducted through a local nonprofit called Southwest Human Development.
We love them.
Yeah.
We love
Well,
them.
you've heard of them.
Yes.
We're lifelong partners here for the school here.
That's
Yeah.
This is good to hear.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm an alumni of their program. So working in relationship with the Steve Nash Foundation, and for those that may not follow sports, Steve Nash was a point guard for the Phoenix Suns, a few other teams as well, and then kind of retired as head coach for the Brooklyn Nets. So as part of that, he's involved with it. The study includes a focus group about dads' involvement in actively reading to their kids at a young age. It's called Let's Talk Dads, and it's still ongoing. In fact, there's a focus group going on right now. Participants receive about a dozen free children's books and a few other incentives for completing their time and survey contributions.
That's awesome. I bet your kids love that.
Oh, yeah. I did it with Violet because she was the right age group for it, but we all benefited from the books.
Yeah.
And I even, during the study, had to kind of record my interactions with her to kind of share with the group. So now I have those recordings of me like reading with her and doing those active, engaging activities, so they're priceless.
Yeah.
Oh, very, very good.
The more we can work together as parents to help each other out and not feel so isolated, the healthier we are as individuals and collectively as fathers. One of the largest obstacles I think we have as dads is getting past the stereotype of the strong, silent father, sitting in an armchair quietly observing the caretaking of his children by a spouse, and only stepping in to address disciplinary matters. Child rearing is not meant to be formed in isolation, in my opinion, as humans are social beings, and we need our villages of support.
That's really good. I love one of the points, going back to a couple episodes, or maybe a few episodes back, we talked about the male role in early education has changed, where it used to be there was a stereotype that only the women were acceptable teachers for young kids, and when you went to college, they only wanted male professors.
Yes.
And now it's kind of switching a little bit. More men are
so.
coming into early education, more women are teaching at a much higher level and doing really, just amazing jobs on both ends. So now you're talking about that, kind of taking that stereotype down and saying, hey, as fathers, we have a lot to offer for our children when we're out there. So, yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So after you joined and you got involved, was there anything that surprised you? Any benefits that were just unexpected?
There are. I mean, the first thing was like my family helped me find the group, which was great. There was like a kind of a dad conference I went to, and then through the dad conference I found Phoenix Dads Group. But I've also been very pleasantly surprised about the amount of openness and sharing of the dads in our group that they do regularly. I think the majority of our dads in our group are truly looking to connect and form a relationship with other dads. It's been really amazing to both partake in and observe as our dads help watch each other's kids at play dates when a dad needs to step away for a moment, as well as provide a listening, non-judgmental ear when a dad needs to vent about a frustrating situation. Through our website, dadsupportingdads.org, a dad can find community that fits their needs best, whether it be a community for single dads or divorcing or divorced dads with kids under the age of 5. It's all there. And a new WhatsApp dad community can easily be created to fit any needs as they arise, as well as allow communication and connections across multiple geographical locations, thanks to its online platform. I have a few examples here. One recent one took place this past fall. I met a dad through the Let's Talk Dad study, and he lives in Florence, Arizona. And so he's like, oh, could I even join the group? I'm in Phoenix. And I was like, yeah, let's talk some more. So we talked for a while, and then he decided to officially join the group. And just last month, he came out to 2 of our events. One of them he brought his family to. And now he's looking to host a board game night out in Florence to connect dads there. And then one other instance that recently came up this summer was I was going back down to Tucson, so that's where I'm from, and I was visiting family, and I had a dad reach out saying, hey, do you have a chapter here? And I said, not yet. I'd love to get one down there. So we met and we talked it over, and so he's in the process of working with some of our higher-up leadership teams to possibly get a City Dads chapter going down in Tucson. And that would just be great so the dads can connect down there as well.
I love it.
Good.
I love that. Yeah. So when I had, my daughter is almost 23 now, but one of the very first things I did, as I mentioned, was join a mom's club. I mean, it was like right away because I knew I was going to need that. And then we moved to a new area and there wasn't a chapter there. And so then I was involved from the beginning. There was somebody that was already started the process of founding it. I joined along with her. We got it going. And the impact on the community, right? When then you have that resource and you have that outlet to speak with other people who are going through the similar things that you are. I think that that's fantastic. And in Bear Down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, yeah.
Sorry, Sun Devil graduate.
We have a little U of A ASU rivalry.
That's some healthy rivalry.
There you go. There you go.
No.
That's right.
But I think that's wonderful that you're able to mentor others throughout the state and getting this going. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I love the emphasis on that camaraderie of being able to go out. It's interesting, and there's like a national movement now where they're really realizing with mental health how many fathers don't feel like they have friends,
Right?
people to talk to.
It's just
So,
like
yeah.
you and your kids. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know I need friends because I had them before kids.
Yeah.
But then you're really like, wait, I got to kind of put some of that mental health back on the table. And
Yes.
say, like,
Yeah.
how do I reconnect with my friends or form new dad friends?
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's
Very
wonderful.
good. I have a couple questions for you too. So, like, I guess what are the benefits of the dads group on your child specifically, and even maybe on your spouse? On what kind of benefits do they get from you being part of this group?
Oh, sure. I mean, that is such a great question. I think the main benefit that comes for our children, and my children and partner, is they get to see that child rearing really does take the whole village approach in order to be successful. My kids get to see other dads in action, which I think is important to see other male role models, as well as they learn from other kids of different ages, which sometimes you might have one kid at home or two young ones and not one that's like, past the age of 5. So it helps them have those kind of other role models, right?
Yeah.
And then for my partner, she has the opportunity to build connections with other parents, because there are events that we have where we say, yeah, bring your partners along, or if you have a grandparent, however you kind of identify your family, bring them out to meet us so that they can get to know what you're doing when you come out to dad events.
Love that.
So we really get to meet the extended families in some instances. The other benefit I think is so important is that by going out to these events, one's partner can see that change, that new positive energy when they come back feeling renewed, whether it's a dad's night out and they come back just being like, yeah, I got to just get out there and be
Nice.
me again for a little
Yes,
bit.
yeah.
But then they also learn some parenting tips. I've learned so many different things. Myself being a lifelong educator, even though right now kind of stepping out of that career a little bit to be an at-home dad, I've always enjoyed developing relationships with people of all different walks of life. So being part of this group, I learned different parenting techniques as well as cultural practices from all the dads across our network, because we extend outside of the state thanks to WhatsApp. So we can talk to dads in other states. And even like right now, we have a dad in the Netherlands that we connect with. So
This is really a global community.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I love that. I love it. Just two of the things you really stuck out to me was modeling. They get to see how these fathers are modeling their relationship with their child on there, and helps them as they grow up and eventually will become parents. But that's great too. And the cultural inclusion, because we all have different parenting techniques and styles that we use and things like that. So it's very inclusive, and that's really great. That's really good. So where can I go to join one of these groups if I want to do it? And are there any prerequisites that we must have for that?
good question. You can visit us at dads with an S, supporting dads with an S.org. There you agree to our community respect guidelines, pretty simple, and complete a very brief questionnaire, which allows you to locate and be connected to our multiple WhatsApp community pages. Or for those that are just kind of like, oh, I dip my foot into the water a little bit, or that may not be a dad, you can like and follow us on Facebook at Phoenix Dads, or Instagram at Phoenix Dads Group. The pre-requests are pretty simple: being a father, and a willingness to be inclusive to all dads and non-birthing parents. And sometimes we get a question, what are non-birthing parents? So some examples are maybe foster adopted parents, LGBTQ plus parents. So we have a pretty inclusive community. We also ask that you share some demographic information, such as what side of town do you live on, what are the ages of your kids, and what you're looking to get out of the group, so we have a good starting place.
Oh, that's very good. And I love one of the things you brought up too about traditional parent role models in there too. And a lot of times we think we do Father's Day here at our school, we'll make gifts and stuff, and sometimes our students give them to an older brother or an uncle or a stepfather or grandfather, something like that, because they all are taking part in the raising of the child. So that's great that they can be part of that.
Yeah, they can all be part of the group. I mean, that's the best part. If they're in that dad role in some way, shape, or form, we want them to feel supported.
Very, very good.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Can you tell us just a little bit about your opportunity to expand this out? You started writing and doing some articles, so if you can kind of tell us how that came about,
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I think it was last spring actually, I was approached by a local parenting magazine called Raising Arizona Kids. And that's a free magazine you can get in your library, you can get here at Goddard, you can kind of get around where you see kid activities.
Sure.
The editor reached out to me as they had a new section called Dad Talk. And she had heard about our group and wanted to interview me, as well as my experiences of being an at-home dad. My interview was set to be released in their summer edition, which would come out right before Father's Day. Also, the editor asked me if I have any interest in writing for them on a regular basis. It was a volunteer position. I had been part of my high school newspaper and served as writer and editor there. And also, being a Superman fan, Clark Kent, come on.
Yeah, I had to tap into that.
So I just kind of walked into it and said, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So my first article was about my journey of stepping out of my 9-to-5 job, working at the university and providing support to like first-gen students, and to become an at-home dad, since kind of our family support structure had changed at home. So it was right around the time of also the pandemic. So me doing it just kind of made sense, and I wrote about my experience there. Since then, I've also done 5 articles. The most recently will be released this fall. And I try to keep my articles interesting, providing information about parenting tips from the perspective of an at-home dad, as well as highlighting local venues that provide free or reduced cost entertainment for families across the valley.
Very good. Oh, that's tremendous. I think it's so neat to be able to pick up, a magazine and to see an article from one of our parents here and to read it. And very entertaining, too, as well. So
I appreciate that.
I'll throw you for a bit of a loop here. What superhero would you say is most like your parenting style? I know you're in Superman. Yes.
Gosh.
It's hard, but what superhero would be the one you're like, that's the one I'm the most like?
Well, in recent times, I've only seen a few examples, like in popular media and culture. Like I've seen Green Arrows and I've seen The Flash, and I think kind of the always planning that the Flash has to try to think about what do I do next for my kid? How's it going to impact their future? Of course, he has a way to travel to the future and see what happens. I can't do that. Yes. But that ongoing planning and trying to think things out, I think that probably comes closest, because I'm always like, well, what will me doing this show my kids?
Yeah. And I'm sure you feel like the Flash sometimes, trying to run back and forth and do everything. To help out.
What about you?
I know who I'd want to be in the superhero world is Pa Kent.
Oh, yeah.
Especially after watching
Oh, my God. That was the most emotional. Go see it if you haven't seen it yet. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like,
that is actually a really good example.
No superpowers other than being a great father. And
that's such a heart.
That's
the
way to be. So
that is a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, we have a couple more questions, but do you have any advice that you would give for fathers out there, or any kind of male role models that maybe are looking to help more with the raising of children and education?
Oh, gosh, yeah. I do. Hopefully, I can put this into a sentence or a couple sentences here.
Sure.
I really, for myself, it's a very kind of a personal question. So I grew up in a single-family home in Tucson, Arizona, primarily raised by my mom. My dad was around, but not always in the same way as maybe some other dads. While I was fortunate to have some other outstanding role models in my life, I never knew that I would be an at-home dad. I'm responsible for sharing so much about fatherhood with my kids, my family, and even those around me. For those listening, if you are in my shoes, in a town not native to you, and trying to make new friends, especially dad friends, I recommend start simple. Introduce yourself to any and all dads who you come in contact with. It might be as simple as sharing a snack pack or extra juice box, or even partaking in some imaginary play scenarios with your kids. Kind of like I've seen on that popular TV show for kids, Bluey. Bandit really did a great job of it. Now, granted, it's only maybe 7 minutes each episode of their life. We were seeing them just being these outstanding parents. But there's one episode where Bandit connects with this other dad at a park because they're doing this imaginary play with their kids. But it can really kick off a lifelong dad friendship.
I love that.
So if you do happen to be an at-home dad like myself, there is an amazing group of like-minded fathers that are part of a nonprofit called the National At-Home Dad Network. They even have a conference each year for their members called Home DadCon. This year, it will take place in San Antonio, Texas in the month of September. So not too far away. I think there might still be tickets and rooms available. I'll be at it and presenting on a workshop for the first time on how to make dad friends. So it kind of fits with this.
Yeah.
And that actually came about talking with my son about how to make friends in kindergarten. It's like, Dad, I got you. And so my workshop follows his philosophy of how to make a friend in kindergarten.
Very nice. That's great.
Should any dads listening want to join Phoenix Dads Group, please visit our website, dadsupportingdads.org, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just that's kind of it.
That is really good. Very, very good.
I think, I got a little emotional, to be honest, when you were talking, because I think that just being a bio dad doesn't make you a dad, right? Just like, there's a lot of things that go into being a dad. And your mom, first off, we love her.
Oh, thank you.
She is incredible and clearly did a fantastic job.
I appreciate that.
But sometimes, like, it takes somebody like a disruptor to like change the family dynamic for the future generations. And I feel like you're setting such an example for your kiddos, and that's fantastic.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you both. And, this hat actually came from my dad. It's one of the things that really kind of fuels me to keep thinking about how we're dads, right?
Yeah.
And so it's my ongoing reminder to, like, be that super dad.
You could be that super dad. And, and not everybody is as comfortable or confident in their in exploring what fatherhood can be.
Yeah.
And so in organizations such as yours really give that opportunity.
Yeah.
So one thing that we didn't really talk about asking you, but we're going to throw it out there. So you're a stay-at-home dad, and so a lot of times I hear from parents who are like, "Oh, well, I don't really need early childhood education because, I can do that." Why did you choose to send your children to early childhood education? What value did you see that would bring your family?
We were so lucky, for one, being, my wife, her being here, growing up in the Phoenix area, like, she knew it from that perspective, but as a mother, a little bit different, right? And it changed a lot since her parents were parents of young kids. So were very fortunate that we had a neighbor right across the street from us whose daughter was attending here, a year older than our son. And so he actually was like, "Hey, I know you guys are kind of looking, because you both are working parents." My wife initially tried to be the part-time employee and part-time parent at home with her son when he was first born. And as that became a little bit more challenging and demand started picking up at work, we looked for early childhood education. We knew we wanted something. I did not have the best experience with preschool or daycare when I was younger. It just didn't work too well for me. So I did a little and then went into kindergarten. But if done right, and I think introduced in a friendly way with caring staff, it can make such a difference. So when we got to tour Goddard and walk around and meet the teachers and the other parents and both of you, it changed our whole perspective. We knew why our neighbors spoke your praises. Like, we were just like, we got to go to Goddard.
Yeah.
It is so worth it for us. I mean, we're happy to have our daughter here and have our son be an alumni. And I think any parent would be lucky to find Goddard and kind of tour it. And when we saw you all, Goddard, as a brand and as a franchise when we were in California, like, oh my gosh, there they are. They're in a whole other state. And we wanted to walk in and just say hi.
Sure.
No, you can. I think,
so
speaking for other owners, we've had families come by and say, hey, I saw, or teachers from other states just swing by just to see it and say hello. It's really cool. I love that, that people feel that community.
And Oliver, so our son is just so prepared. He was so prepared for the structure of kindergarten, and his teachers kept saying like how far ahead he was, and so it's just been so cool to kind of just know that he's had a very good experience because he was so shy.
Yeah, so he's awesome.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. This is amazing, Ben. Thank you so much for coming on here and telling us a little bit about it. Again, like I said, a lot of fathers just don't know. They want friends, they want groups, they want outlets. And,
that was me.
Yeah, and to be able to have something here. So I implore any of the fathers that are listening to this or any role models to seek out this group and see the benefits that it can bring.
But they don't need to be a stay-at-home dad, right? Any dad
not
can
to be part of Phoenix Dads Group, and even the National Home Dad Network will really work with dads who are interested in what they have to offer. If they want to go to workshops on how to kind of enhance your fathering characteristics, you can look it up and see if it's a good fit for you. But yeah, our group locally is open to any and all dads.
Wonderful.
Very, very good.
Thank
you again. Yeah, thank you so much, Ben, and thank you all for listening. We appreciate you listening and subscribing and sharing, and it's all about just trying to help support this generation of children and see them blossom and advance and move on to eventually have their own shows teaching other people. That's the goal. So thanks a lot again, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Yep, see you next week.